Hi everybody, this is RJ from Netra Labs, and in this video we're going to be going over step 2 of the Kait wizard. Now, I don't want to underestimate just how important this step is in crafting your agent. And as we showcase here at the top, quality data for quality results. Um, you know, Going back to the principle of garbage data in, garbage data out. You want to provide data for your agent that is contextually relevant. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to create a customer support agent for your business, or if you're trying to create an analyst who can review a pitch deck that you're about to give to VCs, you should be providing them different types of data. But all of the data that you provide should be quality data, meaning structured and contextually relevant. So I don't want to say at this point that you should upload X, Y, or Z file. That is not the point. The point here is to explain to you fundamentally how this mode operates, and that the data you provide for your agent, that is the context on which that agent will be trained. So if you're trying to create a customer service agent and you are not providing that agent with data that's going to be relevant for them to be able to answer questions or help your customers or prospects, then you shouldn't expect your agent to be all that valuable or all that helpful in being able to do so. So I'm going to showcase to you an example of, well, what that looks like and what data you might upload for this particular use case I'm about to go over. But I really want you to look at this more conceptually and not just tie it down to any one type. So if you watch some of the other videos, particularly in Autoverse mode, I mentioned creating a customer support agent for the Tesla Model X. I made an example of saying, what if Elon Musk came and said, hey, we want to create a Kait agent that can provide support on the Tesla Model X? Well, one of the pieces of data that we would probably want to provide to this agent is their Tesla Model X manual, because that manual is going to have a lot of information that would be contextually relevant for a customer support agent for that Tesla Model X. So just showing you here where if you see this first drop down where it says select Kait mode, you'll see that it has two options, Dataverse and other modes. The reasoning for this is that Dataverse as a mode only takes tabular data. You cannot upload any other type of data and then utilize the Dataverse mode. So if you're not uploading tabular data and you're trying to create a customer support agent or any type of role that doesn't have to interact with tabular data, you could just click other modes. It'll give you that pop-up just indicating the file formats that it can take, just confirm, and then you could select your data file. Now, in this example, as I mentioned, if Elon Musk came and asked about the Tesla Model X manual, well, if you look at their manual, and this is for 2021, but you'll see that this is a 300-page document, and there is a lot of information. But the key point about this is that it's very structured. As you'd imagine, a manual would be very, very structured. And what is it discussing? So such as, let's say the autopilot features and how that works. A manual is a perfect example of structured data that would be contextually relevant for your agent. But I do not want you to limit it just to that. This is just one example, and we want you to experiment. You do not even have to utilize data like this. You can create your own corpus. And if you watch the Socialverse mode video, you'll see how we did that for Kait, and you can interact with Kait based on that data on our website on mykait.ai. So I wanted to showcase this manual just because to show one, how comprehensive in terms of the amount of data that you can ingest is obviously a lot. So 300 pages is what we're utilizing here. And there currently is a limit on how much data you can upload. And per file, it is limited to 10 megabytes. So if it's over 10 megabytes, it will throw back an error. But you don't have to upload just one file. You can upload multiple files as long as they're contextually relevant to your use case. And word of warning: the more data sources that you provide, the harder it'll be for them to remain contextually relevant unless you are being very specific in terms of why you are uploading XYZ data. Now, so once I've uploaded that, I'm going to click on process data, and that's where it's going to create the embeddings that enable our agent to understand the relationships between the characters within that corpus of data. In this example, the manual. And those embeddings are very powerful in being able to enable your agent to answer very complex questions and really look at the data from a different light. I mentioned the limitation of the 10 megabytes per file. I will also say that currently there is a limit of 2 million characters in total that your agent will be able to reference. So you can upload multiple files as long as they're under 10 megabytes per file. But if the total amount of characters of all of the files uploaded exceed 2 million characters, you will get back an error. And that's just due to the database that we're currently using and the fact that we're utilizing a free open source version of this. And we're constantly trying to adjust that, but hopefully you can understand due to costs, we had to put a limit at a certain point. But 2 million characters is clearly a lot. And as you can see from that 300-page manual, when I process this, that it's still able to process and embed all of that data that I can utilize for my agent. So the other the part that I want to mention here, because I've been talking about files, is that sometimes as well you may want data for your agent that is already found on your website. So in here, if you see in this this particular section as well as this link, this is a link to our web scraper. This is a desktop application that we created, and it's a pretty comprehensive web scraper that it's able to extract data from websites with multiple embedded links. Now, full disclosure, it will not work for very, very large sites with multiple layers of links and sublinks. But if you have a pretty standard site, you should be able to utilize this web scraper and download all of the content from your website, and you can utilize that as the corpus of data that you would provide for your customer service agent or so on. We wanted to provide a mechanism where you can leverage the data that you already have, meaning on your website. If you've already built a website with your products and services, we want you to be able to leverage that. So we created a free web scraper. It's a very simple application, but it is rather capable in terms of how much data it can extract. But just forewarning that it obviously will not be able to work for very, very large sites. We wanted this to be something that if you have a website already where you already have that data, you can quickly get out that structured data on your website and be able to leverage it in your agent. So once you've uploaded your data, you're going to go ahead and click process data. That's going to create those embeddings that I discussed. And will bring you to the final step of that wizard. Now, depending on how much data you provided, of course, this will take a little bit longer, a little bit less than others, but you can imagine around 20 to 30 seconds. As long as you don't have over those 2 million characters or files that are larger, again, than those 10 megabytes per file, you should be able to create those embeddings and have that data for your agent and go to step 3 of the wizard. And in this page, we will go over in a separate video, but I wanted to showcase the purpose of the step 2 of the Kait wizard and fundamentally how we're uploading data for our agents, because there's going to be a lot of ways in which we can manipulate this and be able to experiment with this. So I hope that you understand from this point of how important the data you provide is for your agent, but also that it shouldn't just be something you randomly upload. You should have a very clear reason why you're giving your agent that data, because that will be the context in which they do perform all tasks. It'll be based upon the data provided. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or you have any type of feedback or recommendations, please go to our Discord, as well as refer to the other videos that we have here, specifically the ones of step 1, step 2, and step 3 of the wizard, and then the representative modes. And until our next video, thank you very much.